If you're in your early 20s and you know that you want to become better than average, well, guess what? We're going to need to have better habits. You know why? Because our lives are basically the sum of the habits that we have. If we do average things with average habits, then we're going to keep living the average life that we have. So, in order to get above average, we need above average habits. So, here's a fact that I want you to know about right now. Our lives, your life, is actually the sum of your habits. And frankly, actually, there's actual science behind this, and that actually says it's true that about 40 to 50% of all of your decisions that you make daily actually are by habits rather than making it by choice. And that says a lot because about half of your life, and maybe even more, is controlled by the things that your brain is automatically running through, because that's what habits are. Habits are basically your brain trying to reserve energy in your system just so that you can autopilot some activities that you do on the regular. And now, with every action that we do, with every habit that we have, it always takes us somewhere. It always has a consequence, whether it's good, bad, mediocre, average, or absolutely the bomb, and you're changing your life right then in that moment. And if you want to learn more about it, I'm not the expert on it. Just read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he will literally revolutionize the way you think about habits, and like not even think about it, but show you how much science that there is about habits and how you can revolutionize your life by just changing simple things and doing simple things every single day so that you can drastically change your life even later on. So, since half of all of our decisions are kind of just made by our habits, our brain is running on autopilot rather than we're actually making the conscious decision to do things a lot of times. And so, like I said again, if you have average habits, you will stay average. But if you have above average habits, that make you do above average activities, then you will start to become above average and your life will start to become above the standard, above the average amount of people, above what the average really is. So, honestly, a lot of times it may seem like pretty impossible to change habits because we've all tried it. We've all tried to break a bad habit, cut it off from our life, and we tried and we failed, and then it kind of diminishes our confidence. And sometimes we do it, sometimes we can't be able to do it, and it just gets really, really frustrating. And honestly, it can hurt our confidence and really us even thinking that can we really change our lives? And it can also honestly seem impossible. See, the neat thing about this, it's actually very possible to break off bad habits and then replace them with good ones. So, in this episode, we're going to be covering how we can crush our old bad habits and then also start to replace them with great habits instead. And then I'm going to let you know of some of the above average habits that I've decided I had to place in my life and I see above average people having in their lives. And I can tell you from personal experience, they've honestly changed my life for the better so much. And I wouldn't even be able to do this if I wasn't even having these habits in my own life. So, first thing, we got to break off old habits. We got to make sure that what we're doing, the thing that we want to get rid of, let's say whether it's you being lazy or anything like that, we want to kind of break that off of our lives. And it can seem very intimidating at first. Trust me, I know, but it's actually pretty possible and a little easier than you think it would be. So I want you to think about it like this. In order to break bad habits, you got to interrupt your autopilot. So let me demonstrate this with an example. Let's say you're in a Tesla, because that's the only car I know of that actually runs on autopilot and stuff. So let's say you're in a Tesla and you've seen videos online and stuff like that, people driving Teslas and testing out the autopilot and stuff. But I've seen many videos of where, let's say you're on the highway and then you need to make an exit real quick, but let's say you're a lane away or you're 2 lanes away. So for the Tesla running on autopilot, it kind of can get pretty hard to even make that exit because let's say a circumstance were to get in the way. A car would not move. That's frustrating. Like when you're driving the same speed, a car is just right there. You try and slow down, then that car slows down. You try to speed up, then that car speeds up. And it's just like you can't really get anywhere. Now, the autopilot doesn't know whether to speed up or slow down. So it just keeps going. And a lot of times you miss your exit. Instead of what a normal person would do, is that we would take the necessary steps to then slow down or speed up to then go towards that exit. and finally get to our destination without having a prolonged, detour, pretty much. If we want to get rid, basically, of our bad habits, we need to interrupt the autopilot that's already happening in our brains every single day. For example, let's say you always come home from work actually, and you tend to binge Netflix like a lot every single night, right? And let's say you don't want to do that anymore. You really just want to like use your time a little bit more wisely than, spending it on Netflix. So one thing you could do is actually make it harder for you to then go home and watch Netflix. For instance, maybe it's deleting the app on your phone, or maybe it's putting up a screen time password on your phone and having someone else keep the password so you don't break that boundary that you set up for yourself. Or maybe you can go to what you would call the extreme and just unplug your TV so it's so much harder to even get to in the first place. And so you do these things so that the next time when your autopilot is going to run, because again, if you've been doing that for a while, your brain thinks it is a pattern, so it's going to try your best to repeat that pattern to save you some energy and some time to just do those activities. So the next time you come in from work, you're going to run on autopilot, but you're putting an obstacle in the middle of it so that it doesn't run its course the way you want, the way it wants to. You're going to try and make it run the course that you want to. And see, the point is to try and make the bad habit that you're trying to avoid and you're trying to get rid of as hard and as difficult to do as possible, putting as many roadblocks, as many obstacles, as many loopholes that you have to jump through in order to actually do it, so that it can actually make you less and less willing to actually commit that bad habit. Now, I know some people will say this, and trust me, I've said it too. For instance, like with the example of unplugging the TV, I know some people would be like, "Whoa, you're talking about unplugging my TV?" And you're like, "That's a little bit too much, Gian. Like, what are you talking about? I wouldn't do that." Okay, yeah, I understand your point, but I'll rebuttal you with this, for instance. So, do you want to stay the same? How badly do you want to escape the rut that you're in right now? That the rut that you're in mentally, physically, maybe in any other way. How badly do you want to escape it? How badly do you want to be above average? Set a different life for you rather than the life that other people have planned for you. Do you want to do that? Then if you want that, you're going to need to take drastic actions to get drastic results, because above average results don't come from normal average actions. They come from above average actions that normal people wouldn't take in order to get results that normal people won't have. You know why? Because they're not willing to do it. Now, I know you're probably willing to do it. So, unplugging your TV shouldn't even be classified as, whoa, that's too much. That's too extreme. Well, if you really want the results that you want to get to, you're going to take the extreme actions because you know no one else is going to do it. So, that will then lead you to the results that no one else has. And you get to live the life that not many people get to live because you're making necessary and pretty drastic sacrifices in order to make sure that you can move forward. And that's the whole point. Now, once you've actually made it difficult for you to do the bad habit that you were talking about, we all have some bad habits that we really just want to get rid of. So the objective is to make that as difficult to do so that it's harder to even keep doing it in the first place. So for instance, let's go back to that TV example. Let's say you go home. You're tired from work, you're really pooped, and you just want to relax. You just want to plop on the couch and you just want to sit down and relax and everything like that. Your brain is already wired to like, okay, time to watch Netflix. And then you realize you unplugged your TV. You remember you unplugged your TV probably that morning before you left for work. Now that comes the hard decision because you're already tired. You're already lazy. You already don't have that much energy right now. So it's going to take a little bit extra energy to even try and just like, oh, now I got to go across the room, go plug back the TV, maybe find the batteries for the remote or whatever. And that's going to take a little bit more energy. Now, when you're in that state, where you already made it so hard that it's really just harder to do the bad habit, then you got to have something to replace it. Because it's not just to remove things out of your life. You're trying to replace bad habits with good habits. Because if there's just a gap in time where you're just not doing anything, you're tired, you're going to contemplate over and over and over and over and over again of doing the habit that you wanted to avoid. And then you're going to fall into it because you got nothing else to do. So, let's say you wanted to do this. Let's say you wanted to replace that time with watching Netflix to, let's say you wanted to read some personal development books or something like that. And so, what you can do is that in order for you to replace bad habits and with good habits is first, like I said before, making it so that the bad habit is so hard to do while also making the good habit easy enough to do that it just doesn't take that much energy at all. So what can you do in that instance? Let's go back to the picture. You're sitting down. You're looking at the unplugged TV. You're kind of frustrated because you kind of wanted to watch Netflix, but you realize, oh, I kind of remembered. Luckily, you decided at the beginning of the day you would leave your book right in front of you on the coffee table that's right in front of your couch, already opened to the place where you just left off on that book so that you can continue reading right there on the spot. And you could just pick it up and start reading. That makes it so much easier to start reading instead of looking at Netflix, instead of watching Netflix for hours. And that's how we start to replace it. We start to interrupt the pattern that we used to live with something new and make that something new so easy to do. Even though it may be a little difficult, we may need a little bit more discipline. That's fine, but we make that little small step of discipline so much more easier to do by just laying it out perfectly for us to do. Some more examples about this I can actually identify with in my life is basically, let's say you want to wake up a little bit earlier to go to the gym, but the main thing that you have a problem with is just hitting snooze and not really getting up that early, and you tend to sleep in a lot. Trust me, that was me. If you haven't watched how I was able to get up from 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. and in about, I don't know how many weeks, go watch that video because I think I did a pretty good explanation on that one. So if you want to go over there, but this is just a little reference to that. Honestly, referring back to it, something that you can do to make it actually easier for you to get up in the morning is actually put your alarm clock or your phone or whatever all the way across your room so that you would have to actually get up, move your body to then turn off the annoying alarm that woke you up in the first place and not go back to bed. And so that would make it, that's obviously the thing that you would have to hard to do. We're going to stop the bad habit of snoozing in a lot by making it really hard to click snooze, because we're going to make you get up, get out of your bed, walk across your room, smack the alarm, and then by that time you're a little bit more awake, and that by that time you understand, okay, I do want to go to the gym. That's something I really wanted to do. So I'm going to stay up. And now, for some people, that could just still be difficult. And I totally get it because that was me too. I literally, granted, that's where my alarm is, right over here. And so a lot of times I I would just get out of my bed, which is over here, walk to my alarm, smack it, and then just go back to bed because I was just like, I don't want to do whatever. And it just happened to be really difficult. And I get that. Now, the neat thing is you can then make it a little bit easier for you to go to the gym. How would you do that? Well, one thing you can actually do is set up your water last night. If you have a water bottle, fill it up last night and leave it in your room. And then one thing you can also do is put out your gym clothes early and leave them laying across maybe your chair or maybe somewhere in your room so that's easy, so you don't have to be bothered by picking fabulous clothing material, and just put on the clothes and then just head straight to the gym. Grab your water bottle, grab your keys, and go. And so that makes it a little easier to actually say no to the bad habit and say yes to the habit that you want to go towards. And the reason why I say like something as meticulous as that, because not only just from my experience, but also science, because it says this too. Since your body's autopilot is pretty much not to really wake up early, correct? And your body's autopilot is there to necessarily help you. Now, when you find a better thing to do, your body's like, whoa, I don't like change that much. Like, it's going to be hard. Of course, it's going to be hard. So, the reason why you do all those preemptive steps to make it easier to go to the gym is because when you get up in that morning, you're not going to feel the same way that you went to bed. normally. You're going to get up, hit the snooze, still feel pretty tired, and then your brain is going to automatically try and find any excuse to go back to the pattern that it's so used to doing. So, the reason why you do all those preemptive efforts is to actually say no to all of those excuses and give you no excuse to not do what you said you wanted to do, so that you can just go right ahead and it's like, okay, well, it's not like I can complain because I already have my gym clothes out. And it's not like I don't have my water because I literally have my water right there. Oh, it's not like my keys are too far away. They're literally in my room and my shoes are right there. And yeah, I have no excuse but to get up and actually do the things that I said I wanted to do. Because we will automatically try and find any excuse, and I mean any excuse, not to do the new things because that's just how we're wired. That's just how our body responds. And we got to find a way to beat those excuses preemptively so that you can finally make the habits that you actually want to make in your life and that will actually change your life. Now, here's the second thing. I wanted to just tell you some of the habits that I've included in my life that's honestly helped me so much. And they're above average habits because the reason why I know that they're above average is because not a lot of people do them. Because I know what average people do and I know what above average people do because you got to know who those people are and see what the above average people do and then mimic their habits and then just implement them in your lives. So, the first one I would go for is honestly just reading daily, to be honest, because a lot of us watch Netflix daily. A lot of us watch YouTube daily. A lot of us watch TikTok, Instagram, everything daily. And sure, it's content. It's something that you can learn from, but mostly it's just cat videos and funny videos or drama or whatever, something that doesn't necessarily help you. But reading, on the other hand, you honestly learn so much from it because there are books on literally everything, anything that you could possibly learn. And honestly, it helps you so much. It helps you adopt new mindsets. It helps you adopt better philosophies in life. It helps you be practically better in some areas that the book can teach you to be better at. And reading daily, setting aside some time to read just daily, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, can honestly just revolutionize your life just one step at a time. Because it's not just the big actions that we need to worry about, it's just the small, consistent actions that actually kind of build up like a snowball. And now, with the gym example, exercise is hecka important. Our body is actually meant to move and be active. And honestly, here in the United States, at least more than 60% of adults don't actually engage in any kind of activity, like even the recommended amount of activity. And then 25% of those adults don't even move at all, don't even have any activity. And the thing is, with exercise and with being active, whether it's running or lifting weights or maybe karate, judo, something like that, that gets your body moving and the blood pumping, it actually helps you so much because it helps you with depression. It helps you get out of your mind. It helps you reduce anxiety, increase your health, and also like help you look the way you honestly want to. Because I know that every single one of us has at least an idea of what we want to look like in life. And I know exercise can honestly help us each and every single way go there. Because I used to be a super skinny kid. I'm still kind of skinny. But I used to be super skinny. I was like, man, I don't want to be like this anymore. So I exercised. I started moving. I started lifting weights that were heavy. And so then guess what? My muscles responded with some growth. And then I actually started being proud of how I looked rather than like, I kind of want to look different. But I wasn't really willing to get the results or do the things that will get me the results. So I started exercising. Now, another one is actually journaling. And so I remember a mentor of mine. His name is Aaron Sorota. So if you know that name, go follow him or whatever like that. And so there was one thing that he said. I don't know if he was quoting somebody or that was just his own phase. But anyway, I'm just going to give him credit for this because this is where I heard it from. He basically said it like this: just like how showers refresh the body, journaling is the same way to the mind. And when you journal, you get to write down your experiences, ideas. And I know I used to be very kind of make fun of people journaling, and people make fun of me who make fun of me now for journaling because when I say that I do that as part of my morning routine, part of the things I do daily, they kind of laugh at me and just like I would journal. Like, what the heck? Like, That's something girls do or whatever like that. I'm just like, no, like there's so many ideas that come into your head and there's so many thoughts that like you need to think out that just writing them on paper actually helps you understand what's going on in your mind just a little bit more because over the day you're getting so many thoughts over and over and over again flushing in your mind and there's so many different things and if you don't write any of them down it's just like maybe there was something super valuable that you got that you just thought and you're like yo that was good but you didn't write it down to remember it or maybe you're actually going through something that's like very mentally tolling. And what if you just write out your feelings? So it's not stuck in your mind revolving all around, but you expressed it with writing it down. And the key thing with journaling is that you can actually measure and see what progress you've made, whether it's with depression, whether it's with exercise, whether it's with the habits that you're trying to track. Like you can then see the progress that you've been making because you've been journaling daily or maybe even weekly or whatever. But I would say, tell you that journaling is a great habit that I think you should have. Now, this last habit can honestly go with reading, but it's a little bit more nuanced than that. So I would say we got to adopt the habit of learning how to improve ourselves. Not just learning to learn new things like, oh my gosh, I know how almond milk was made today. Sure, that's a little that's kind of interesting because not many people know how almond milk is made. But is that going to help you? No, not at all. Unless you're trying to, go into almond milk business or whatever. But learning how to improve, let's say whether it's with podcasts, whether it's with audiobooks, whether it's with stuff like that, and with reading and then exercising and learning more about those things to help you learn more about yourself and how to deal with your emotions, your relationships, business ideas, anything like that. And honestly, help you overall become better with your people skills, your business skills, your relationship skills, all of those different things, and even your skills with yourself, like how to deal with this chaotic mind that we all got, trying to help deal with our mental health and like our self confidence and everything like that. Embracing the habit of trying to learn to improve honestly keeps you on a roll, I would say, because the books that you read aren't really the things that just entertain you as much. And so you take time to help you improve like just 1% every single day. And that's important because a lot of people see like if you have a habit of trying to learn to improve and everything like that, it's like, oh, I have to learn this humongous skill today or else I'm not growing. That's not growth at all. Growth happens by increments. Growth happens day by day with consistent actions and habits. And it's not normally growth spurts, really. Growth isn't virality. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens day by day. And you grow into the person that you want to become and you dream of becoming not overnight, but over years and years of probably maybe the same action of trying to learn and how to be better at certain things that you may be lacking in, whether it's your people skills, whether it's with your relationships, maybe your friendships, or maybe just you want to learn this one skill in the business world or something like that. Maybe something like that. But having the habit of learning how to improve and to improve yourself honestly helps you become so much more than who you are right now. And honestly, that basically encompasses all the habits that I was talking about. Because when you seek to improve yourself, you'll then read the books that will help you. You'll start improving your body and your health with exercise. You'll start improving your mental health with journaling and learning how to journal and learning how to do it and what works for you. So let's recap this real quick, okay? So, first, in order to be above average, we got to have better habits, okay? Because average habits give us average actions, and those average actions give us average results. Now, above average habits give us above average actions, and then they give us above average results, which then becomes and makes us above average people and above average lives. So, in order to have above average habits, we need to get rid of the bad habits that we have and replace them with good ones by making the bad habits that we have that we want to get rid of hard to do so that it's just we don't do them as often as quickly as we normally do. Then for the habits we want to create, we make those as easy as possible so that we can then do that while we're not doing the bad habits. Okay? That's just one way you can do it. And if you want to learn more, just go get Atomic Habits and everything like that, because that is a great book. Would recommend it 10 times over. And I think every single person in the personal development space, always. And some habits I honestly recommend that you get and you implement in your life is reading daily, exercising weekly, journaling often, and have the habit of learning to improve yourself just day in and day out. And I want to say this: you have a purpose. I have a purpose, and that purpose is not average because it's significant. It has meaning. It's not just something that everyone can brush by. No, it's something that you were specifically made for. And the only reason that we'll get to that place because our purpose isn't average is if we have above average habits to then take us to that and see where God is guiding us, each and every single one of us. My dog just walked in. In order to actually escape average, we need better friends, we need better habits, and then lastly, we need better awareness. And that'll be the next episode on this 3-part series. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so you don't miss the third one, because honestly, I'm kind of really excited about that because it's not something that I would have thought. And then it kind of came up and I was like, what? This is like super important. And honestly, I'm really excited to deliver this, guys. So I love you guys. As always, start growing and start now. And God bless you guys.